Arcadian Vanguard presents the Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Tuesday, November 7th, 2023. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin today with last night's Monday Night Raw broadcast live on USA Network from the Mohegan Sun Arena in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. In the main event, Seth Rollins defeated Sami Zayn, rolling him up with a reversal of a Boston Crab to retain the World Heavyweight title. The win marked Rollins' 8th successful title defense on television and his 41st overall since capturing the title last May. The Judgment Day attacked Zayn after the match with Rollins, Jey Uso, and Cody Rhodes all making the save. Adam Pearce then announced that Rollins, Zayn, Uso, and Rhodes would take on Judgment Day in a War Games match at Survivor Series on November 25th.
You want to play games? We're going to play games in Chicago at Survivor Series in War Games.
Hell yeah! Let's settle this the right way. 2 rings surrounded by a steel cage. The Judgment Day. Rhodes, Rollins, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and the brawl is broken out again.
The boys want to fight, you better let them.
The Miz won a fatal 4-way with Bronson Reed, Ivar, and Ricochet to determine the number 1 contender to Gunther's Intercontinental title, pinning Reed. The win came just as Ivar had nearly pinned Ricochet simultaneously. Afterwards, Ivar attacked Miz.
Ivar now off the top rope, and Miz may not be able to make it to Survivor Series. An irate Ivar just punishing the Miz, who won this fatal 4-way match tonight.
Sometimes when you win, you really lose.
In another match for contendership, Zoe Stark won a women's battle royal to determine the number 1 contender to Rhea Ripley's women's world title, last eliminating Shayna Baszler. Stark is set to challenge Ripley at Survivor Series. In other results, Judgment Day's Damian Priest and Finn Balor defeated the New Day, Shinsuke Nakamura pinned Akira Tozawa, and the Creed brothers handed DIY their first defeat since they reunited last week, thanks in part to outside interference from Ludwig Kaiser. In ratings news, last week's episode of SmackDown back in its usual time slot on Fox after being switched the previous week to FS1 drew a total audience of 2.119 million viewers according to sports TV ratings. The rating in the key 18 to 49-year-old demographic was .53. Last week's SmackDown was pre-recorded due to the WWE crew being in Saudi Arabia for the preparation of Crown Jewel. AEW Rampage last Friday night drew 298,000 viewers to TNT according to sports TV ratings. That's down 6% from the previous week's audience of 319,000. The rating in the key 18 to 49-year-old demographic was up, coming in at .11 after the previous week's .09 key demo rating. And we close with some news from Japan. New Japan Pro Wrestling is instituting a new championship according to an official company release. After Bullet Club leader David Finlay destroyed both the NJPW United States and NJPW United Kingdom title belts in an angle at last weekend's NJPW Power Struggle event, New Japan chairman Naoki Sugabayashi stated during a Wrestle Kingdom press conference that the company would be creating one new title belt to replace both of them. Further details on the new title have not yet been made known. Meanwhile, in Niigata, Japan, Daga became the new GHC Junior Heavyweight Champion, defeating Hayata in 19 minutes and 24 seconds yesterday at Noah's Demolition Stage 2023. Hayata's 203-day reign was tied for the longest GHC Junior Heavyweight title reign of the past 5 years. Also on the show, Anthony Green and Jack Morris successfully defended the GHC Tag Team title against Kaito Kiyomiya and Ryohei Oiwa. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the wrestling news. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.